Hello, my dear students. I welcome you to learn a new lesson, the mask. This story takes place in Darjeeling. I'll show you some images related to the place, Darjeeling. This is Darjeeling Tea Gardens. You can see this mountain from Darjeeling, Patasya Loop. There's a very beautiful bridge on the river Teesta. Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. This story takes place in Darjeeling, where Feluda Topsy are holidaying. Feluda is a private detective, while his cousin Topsy is the narrator of the story. One evening, while sitting at the mall, Topsy accidentally overhears Rajan Babu, an amiable old man living a peaceful retired life in Darjeeling, confiding in Tinkori Babu, his tenant, about a threatening letter that he had received by post, thinking that it may require investigation. Topsy tells Feluda about it. The story begins with Feluda and Topsy visiting Rajan Babu. Now, I'll show you an animation video related to this lesson. Then after that, we can go through this text.
The Mask. Rajan Babu, an amiable man, lived in Darjeeling. He took in a paying guest, Tinkori Babu, who had a weakness for cheroot. A few days ago, Rajan Babu received a letter. "Be prepared to pay for your sins," it said. Feluda and I found that Dr. Mitra visited Rajan Babu regularly. The doctor didn't have a good practice, and he knew that a letter like this would make Rajan Babu ill. Another person who visited Rajan Babu was Mr. Ghoshal, an antique expert. Lately, Rajan Babu had collected many masks and old paintings. Tinkori Babu said, "I don't trust Mr. Ghoshal. I think he buys antiques cheap and sells them at higher rates." Feluda also came to know that Rajan Babu's son, Prabir Majumdar, who left the house when caught stealing his father's money, was back in Darjeeling.
"Prabir has a motive to threaten his father,"
said Feluda. The case had 3 suspects. One morning, we received a message that Rajan Babu wanted to see us urgently. We found him lying down, looking pale. Dr. Mitra was examining him and Tinkori Babu was fanning him. Rajan Babu spoke with difficulty.
"Last night, I woke up and there was a masked face bent over me."
Tinkori Babu said, "I'm sorry, but I have to return to Calcutta today. I will inform the police." Feluda and I stayed there that night. I dozed off. I woke up with a jolt and saw a masked face. I was about to scream when Feluda pulled the mask away.
"Can you sense something unusual?"
"Well, there's a faint smell of cheroot." Rajan Babu was shaken when we told him. Then he received a letter. He opened it with trembling hands and read it aloud.
Dear Raju, if you are wondering who I am and why I did this, I am the boy you tripped in that 100-yard race 50 years ago. I missed the medal and was seriously injured. You never realized how you hurt me. I saw your childhood photograph and found out I wanted to trouble you for a short time. I meant no harm. Let's forget about it and move on. Yours sincerely, Tinu.
Tinkori Mukhopadhyaya.
This is short introduction about this lesson, the mask. Before we study this lesson, we will study about this author, the author of this particular lesson. This lesson, The Mask, is the English translation of Gopa Majumdar's Danger in Darjeeling. This is English translation. This text is translated from Satyajit Ray's Feluda Goindagiri. This is the original work. This work was written in the language Bengali. Let's know information about this author, Satyajit Ray. He was born in the year 1921. He died in the year 1992. He was born in the year 1921. He died in the year 1992. Was an Indian filmmaker, artist, and writer. He wrote several short stories and novels for children and young adults. He created the famous characters for the scientist, Professor Zonku, and the private detective Feluda. In this text, which is the first of the Feluda stories, Ray subtly shows us how Feluda cleverly solves this mystery. Now, we will learn the lesson in detail. This is the introduction of this lesson. The story takes place in Darjeeling, where Feluda and Topsy are holidaying. Feluda is a private detective, while his cousin Topsy is the narrator of the story. One evening, while sitting at the mall, the meaning of the word mall, a stretch of road in a hill station with shops and eateries on both sides. Topsy accidentally overhears Rajan Babu. Rajan Babu is an amiable old man. The meaning of the word amiable, friendly. This amiable old man, living a peaceful retired life in Darjeeling, confiding in Tinkori Babu, his tenant, about a threatening letter that he had received by post, thinking that it may require investigation. Topsy tells Feluda about it. The story begins with the Feluda and Topsy visiting Rajan Babu. Rajan Babu has received threatening letter. This discussion is going on between Rajan Babu and his tenant Tinkori Babu. Tinkori Babu took a renter. The house in the Rajan Babu's house is staying there. Now let's read this, let's learn this, let's study this lesson in detail. Rajan Babu's house had a lovely old world charm, very beautiful house. Furniture, stage, mask, just decorated the room, adorned the room. Recently, Rajan Baba had developed an interest in antiques, the meaning of the word, old and often valuable things. Rajan Babu interested in, and he is interested in curious, meaning of the word rare or unusual objects that are usually collected. He collected and he kept in the house. First of all, we have seen about the introduction and how was the house. Now, the introduction we have learned Rajan Babu got a threatening letter. He was discussing with his tenant Tinkori Babu. Now, Feluda and Topse they want to visit the Rajan Babu house and inquire about it. Now they came. Rajan Babu had once he helped Feluda's father. So he willingly took up Feluda's offer because Feluda came there and he wanted to help Rajan Babu because Rajan Babu in the problem is he got threatening letter. He was just about to tell us about it when Tinkori Babu joined. Now the Rajan Babu visited by Feluda and Topse. Topse told his idea about this problem. He wanted to help. Rajan Babu accepted it. In that time, Tinkori Babu came and joined them. Tinkori Babu is a tenant of Rajan Babu. He introduced himself. He said that he hesitated to move to Rajan Babu house because he had a special weakness. That is, weakness is cheroots. The meaning of the word cheroots, a kind of cigarette, a kind of cigar. He told that he had that weakness in that. He explained his things. Only when he said that he did not mind the smell of cheroots, then Rajan Babu accepted. Rajan Babu was asked by Tinkori Babu. Tinkori Babu, he told his weakness. That weakness is special weakness for cheroots. Cheroots is a kind of cigar. Rajan Babu, no problem. You can stay in my house. He allowed him. This is the introduction. When Rajan Babu was inquired by Feluda and Topse, Tinkori Babu came and he introduced himself. He was not asked by the two. He himself introduced. He told these details. Feluda turned Rajan Babu and asked, "Do you have the letter here?" Now Feluda is asking the letter, the threatening letter. Rajan Babu took the letter out of his pocket. That letter was not written by hand. It was not handwritten. The words, what was in the letter? Be prepared to pay for your misdeeds. Only these words are there in the letter. Be prepared to pay for your misdeeds. Be ready. You did a mistake in the past. You have to pay for it. This is the meaning. The words be prepared to pay for your misdeeds. This one had been cut from the newspapers and pasted in the letter. Now Rajan Babu took the letter and showed to the Feluda. Rajan Babu, he said, it was posted in Darjeeling. Unfortunately, I threw the envelope away. The envelope, the stamp, the details related to the post office. He threw away the envelope. So now Rajan Babu said, it was posted in Darjeeling. Feluda asked, Do you suspect anyone? Does anyone visit you regularly? These questions are asked by Feluda. Rajan Babu explains and he answers, no, I can't recall ever harming anyone. I don't get too many visitors. Dr. Phony Mitra comes occasionally, only when I am ill. Mr. Abhinimogan Gozal has recently started visiting me. This is the thing, this is the answer of this Rajan Babu. And Mr. Gozal walked in. Now, when the Rajan Babu was answering, Mr. Gozal walked in. He was an expert in antics. Already I told you the meaning of the word antics, the old things, valuable things. Mr. Gozal was expert. He wanted to examine the authenticity of an antique bell. Recently, Rajan Babu had bought. Authenticity, the meaning of the word genuineness. After Mr. Gozal had left, he walked in and he left. Feluda advised Rajan Babu to stay at home for the next few days because he got the threatening letter during the time. The Rajan Babu was advised not to go out. Now the narrator of this lesson is a Topsy. Feluda and Topsy is friends. Topsy, now he narrates the story. As we got up to leave, Feluda moved towards the mantelpiece. The meaning of the word mantelpiece, a structure of wood, marble, or stone above and around a fireplace. A mantle. Feluda moved to the mantle to take a close look at the 3 photographs are there in the mantle in that place. Feluda is inquiring about the photographs. Rajan Babu explained the first one was his wife photograph, second one was of himself as a child, and third one was his son Prabir. Rajan Babu explains the 3 photographs. First one, Rajan Babu's wife photo. Second one is Rajan Babu when he was a small boy. And the third one is his son Prabir. Now Rajan Babu explains about the 3 photographs. Now this is the mantelpiece. The mantelpiece. Above the mantelpiece, 3 photographs are there. Now he explained about these photographs. Then after that, Feluda and Topsy, they met Tinkori Bobby in a coffee shop. He inquired, they went. Then the next day, 2 people, that is Feluda and Topsy, met Tinkori in a coffee shop. When they met, Tinkori Babu, he said this. He voluntarily says everything. What does he say? I think Ghoshal is a crook. The meaning of the word crook is criminal. He pretends to be interested in art and antiques, but I think he only wants to buy them cheap here and sell them to foreigners at a higher rate. This is the answer of this Tinkori Babu. When the 2 people met, Tinkori Babu, he suspects Mr. Gozal. Because now this is the work of Feluda and Topsy to find out the criminal. Here the criminal is the person who sent the threatening letter. When Tinkori said this, now Feluda said these sentences, then Mr. Gozal might have a motive in sending a letter to Rajan Babu. He said, I learned during my visit to Curio shop today that shop is going to get some fresh supplies this evening. I see, Tinkori says, I see. A letter like that would naturally frighten Rajan Babu into staying at home for a few days, and Gozal would get by all the new pieces. Now, this is the plan of Mr. Gozal. This is the doctor. Doctor may be the reason. Doctor might have written this letter, threatening letter. Now, this is the answer of Tinkori. Exactly, this is the answer of this Feluda. Now, Tinkori Babu also told us about the Rajan Babu's son. Now, the Tinkori Babu told about Rajan Babu's son. The son name is Prabir. What is the information about the Rajan Babu's son? Rajan Babu had asked Prabir to leave the house 16 years ago. The reason, he had caught Prabir stealing money from his cupboard. This is the reason. So Rajan Babu sent his son 16 years ago. Now Prabir had not been seen then. After that, they did not see. From this, what we understand, the Feluda and the Topsy understand. So Tinkori Babu was shocked to hear that we had seen the Prabir at the mall that morning. This is the replay of Feluda and Topsy. Feluda and Topsy, they say, we saw that person, Prabir, in the mall. Tinkori Babu immediately was shocked. Now this is the question. How was Feluda able to recognize Prabir? Because 16 years ago, he was sent by his father Rajan Babu. Now, how Feluda and Topsy know about it? You might have questioned. You think? Yeah. Answer is, Feluda was able to recognize Prabir from the picture he had seen on the mantelpiece. The Rajan Babu's house. This is the answer. Now let's continue this lesson. Now Feluda immediately says, so Prabir also has motive to threaten his father. Tinkori Babu, first of all, he told about Mr. Gozal. Now he tells about this Prabir. Tinkori Babu said, Rajan Babu does not know that his son is in downtown, and I don't think he should be told. That information might reach this Rajan Babu because of the situation. Now, this is the discussion between the Feluda and Topsy and Tinkori Babu about the criminals, about the people, those who sent this. Now, after further investigation, Feluda, now they do investigation. Feluda is talking to Topsy. What is that? I visited Dr. Mitra today. Pony Mitra, already we saw that. Occasionally visit the house. Dr. Mitra. He could have also sent the letter. He seems to be in need of money, so he does not have good practice. The meaning of the word practice here, the business of a doctor. A letter like this could make Rajan Babu fall ill, which would require him to go to Dr. Mitra. This is the plan of this may be the plan of this Mitra. This is the discussion between the Feluda and Topsy. When they do discussion over this, now the case had reached the stage. That is, three suspects they could see in front of them. One is Ghoshal, another one is Prabir, and the third one is Dr. Mitra. Now in front of them, all the three are suspects. They are not culprit. That's the meaning of the word suspects, the people thought to be guilty of a crime or offense. Culprit, the meaning of the word culprit, a person who is responsible for a misdeed. So few days later, one morning, now they had a suspect. They did not finalize that. Now days went on. Now few days later, one morning, Feluda and Topse received a message from Rajan Babu. Rajan Babu wanted to see them urgently. So Feluda and Topse rushed to his house. Rajan Babu is lying on the bed, now looking pale and haggard. Dr. Mitra was examining him. Tinkori Babu stood nearby and looking worried. He was very sad. Now Rajan Babu spoke with some difficulty to the people. Now he explains. Last night, after midnight, I woke up suddenly, and there was this face, a masked face. It bent over me. It was horrible. I can't tell you how I spent the night. Now this is the Rajan Babu is lying on the bed and he is explaining the situation. Last night he saw a face, that face, a masked face. Now you can see the different mask here. It bent over him. It was horrible to see. Now this Rajan Babu was not able to explain that horrible incident. Feluda Topse listens everything clearly. Now the doctor Mitra also standing and watching everything. The doctor immediately said that take it easy. You need complete rest. Feluda suddenly said, Dr. Mitra, did you go out last night? Because Dr. Mitra also is one of the three suspects. Feluda suddenly said that, did you go out last night? Your jacket's got a streak of mud on it. Mitra said, yes, I did go out to see a patient, though it was raining so heavily. So last night he went out to see his patient. After Dr. Mitra had left the place, Feluda asked, what did the mask look like? Rajan Babu pointed to the dreadful looking mask on the wall. He pointed out the dreadful looking mask and pointed out this. It was like one of those you see on the wall. There, Rajan Babu pointed to a dreadful looking mask on the wall. Now, during the time when the conversation is going on, Tinkori Babu came in after seeing of the doctor and said, I'm sorry, I have to return to Calcutta today. I tried to change my ticket, but there are no seats for the next 10 days. But before I leave, I will inform the police. Rajan Babu needs protection. Now the Rajan Babu is explaining about his condition. He wants to go. He wants to go to Calcutta. Now in this situation. Now realizing that Rajan Babu would be all alone that night, Feluda, because Rajan Babu is staying in the house, he wanted to leave. Now Feluda and Topse decided to stay in the night at his house because the situation is like this. Later that night, as they were relaxing, now the night time, now Tinkori Babu left the place. Now they were relaxing after dinner. Now this is night time, Feluda and Topse is staying in the house. Feluda said, I did some investigation in the afternoon. Now he is explaining. Both Prabir and Mr. Gosal were at a party from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. the previous night. Dr. Mitra was truly visiting critical patient till late last night. This is really true. They were not in the house, they were at the party. Dr. Mitra was visiting critical patient. This is true. All the three suspects were out of the place. Now their discussion is going on. That man wearing the mask came soon after the midnight, didn't he? Now the discussion is going on. Yes. Well, then, who does that leave us with? So, who is the criminal? Who came? The three people, they were busy in their work, they were busy in some other places the previous night. Who came? Now, the question is, we have. I ask you the same question. Can you guess who is the culprit? It is your response. We are going to find out the particular person here. Feluda did not answer. He abruptly went off. Now the Topsy. I lay on bed and began to feel sleepy. I suddenly sensed the presence of someone in the room. My blood froze. I could feel the man leaning over me. Oh, how horrible it was. A mask. He was wearing a mask. Now Topsy, when he is lying on the bed, he saw that night. The Topsy and Feluda, they are staying that night because Tikori Babu is not here, he went to Kolkata. Rajan Babu's situation is like this, so he should not be alone, so the two planned they stay there. Now, Topsy, he experienced this horrible experience. Immediately he opened his mouth, was about to scream, and the person pulled the mask, he removed the mask. His scream became nervous gasp. When he opened his eyes, he saw that Feluda is there. Feluda, it's you. Now Feluda says, of course, it's me. I was trying on this mask in this living room. Why don't you wear this one for a second? Now he gives the mask to the Topsy. Now Topsy wore the mask. Now the Feluda asks, can you sense something unusual, something different? Now Topsy say, no, it's size too large for me. That's all. Think carefully. Isn't there anything that might strike you as odd? Anything different? Now Topsy says, well, there is faint smell, I think. What smell? Feluda is asking. Cheroot. Already we studied this word cheroot. That is a kind of cigarette. Exactly. Both they are thinking about the smell which is in the mask. Both they smelled the mask. Immediately Topsy says, my heart started to beat faster again. Tinkori, I stammered. Cheru, the smell that is related to Tinkori. Feluda shy, yes, I am afraid so. But he seems to be respect Rajan Babu a lot, so I don't understand why he did something like this. After smelling that mask, they finalize that is Tinkori Babu. They are discussing why Tinkori Babu did this. Rajan Babu was shocked when he heard this about this next morning. Next morning, they discussed about the smell which is in the mask. Rajan Babu was shocked. They were talking. Rajan Babu received a letter. When they were talking, they received another letter. He opened the letter with trembling hands. Already he got the trembling letter. Be prepared to pay for your misdeeds. Now another letter was received by Rajan Babu when they were talking about that, the previous night incident. In that letter, the things were there. Dear Raju, we used to study in the same school in Bangura 50 years ago. You had tripped me in that 100-meter race on a sports day. Not only did I miss the medal in the race, but I was also seriously injured. Unfortunately, my father got a transfer to a different town. Soon after, I never got a chance to settle the score. The meaning of the word to take revenge on someone for a wrong done earlier. With you. To settle the score with you. So you never realized how deeply you had hurt me both physically and mentally. I didn't realize that you were the same boy till I came to stay in your house and saw your childhood photograph. The desire for revenge resurfaced. I thought of doing something that would cause you anxiety and ruin your peace of mind for a short time. This was my way of punishing you for your past misdeed. With good wishes, yours sincerely, Tino Tinkori Mugopatyaya. After reading this, they come to the conclusion. The culprit who sent the letter, that is Tinkori Babu. Why do you think Tinkori Babu confessed by writing a letter? Can you answer? Tinkori Babu confessed by writing a letter. Tinkori Babu felt very ashamed. Tinkori Babu was covered, did not have courage to face Rajan Babu. Is the answer. So that he wrote a letter and he left the place. In this lesson, we can understand, we can read the mystery. In the beginning, how the mystery was appeared. In the end, how the mystery was solved. This Satyajit Ray, he wrote stories with the mystery, with the suspense end, using the character Feluda and Professor Jonku. You read this lesson again and again. If you have doubt, you can ask me. Finally, the culprit was found out. That particular person is Tinkori Mukhopatyaya. Tinkori Babu wrote this. You read this lesson and you read the questions. You find out answer from the textbook. You will enjoy. You will be molded in language. Not only language, but the increase of your vocabulary. Read well, my dear students. If you have any doubt, you can ask me.